Today's video is all about horror slash survival horror games, and you guys know there are tons of games already available on Steam. But finding a good horror game that you can play without spending any money is a bit of a hard task. But don't worry, today we're gonna jumping in and take a look at some of the best horror slash survival horror games that you can play right now in 2024 for absolutely free. Alright, I'm starting with Unfortunate Spaceman, a thriller multiplayer game of deception and survival set in the depth of space. And you play as a group of brave spacemen who work in this failing outpost, and your simple goal is to complete objectives and call for your rescue team to help you out. But you have to be aware at all time because one of you is going to play as a shape-shifting monster who try to do anything in their power to sabotage any rescue plans. And the game also got a bunch of other game modes, including a solo and a co-op story mode, and also a survival mode where you can fend off against waves of enemies, and you can play with up to 9 players on co-op. Testari is a single-player horror adventure game where you play as a journalist who receives a mysterious call that led him into this abandoned house. And throughout the game, you have to explore and uncover the truth behind a devastating bioterrorist attack. And you can arm yourself with pistols, rifles, or even rocket launchers as you fight off these terrifying monsters throughout the game. It's a nice single-player game with a pretty dark story, and right now having mostly positive reviews on Steam. And also, you don't really have to have a powerful PC to play this game. Moving on, next up we got SCP Lab Rat, a terrifying journey into the depth of SCP Foundation's underground research facility. In this game, you play as a test subject who trapped inside this facility where you have to navigate through dark, claustrophobic corridors, evading deadly SCPs, and also uncover some of the anomalies, secrets hidden throughout the level. It's a pretty dark and scary game. You can play the game both single player and also on online co-op. And if you prefer to play on VR, the game does have a separate VR mode. And overall, it's a very underrated horror game, something that is absolutely worth playing right now. Moving on, next up we got terrifying psychological horror game that nowadays considered to be an absolute classic, and that is Cry of Fear. The game is set in this deserted Scandinavian town, and you play as a young man who desperately searching for answers in the cold. And as you navigate through the horrific creatures and terrifying delusions, you slowly turn into madness. It's a pretty dark and terrifying single player campaign and take you about 10 hours to complete. And other than a single player mode, the game also features a full length co-op campaign that you can play with up to 4 players. And you guys might remember this game initially started as a Half-Life 1 mod and turned into a full-length standalone masterpiece, and it is absolutely worth playing in 2024. If you are primarily someone who enjoy playing a lot of multiplayer games, next up we got a couple of awesome games that you should be playing right now, and that is DCit 1 and DCit 2. Both games are free to play. DCit 2 went free to play very recently on Steam, and both games offer a pretty similar style of experience. It's a social deduction style of a horror game where a group of your people will be playing as innocents, and the other group is infected with a deadly virus. And as an infected, your goal is to simply take down all the innocent players, and as an innocent player, your goal is to stay alert, gather weapons, and work with others to escape through the safety hatch. And there is a variety of weapons that you can gather, and also a lot of strategies involved with the gameplay. Very fun multiplayer horror game to check out right now, and both games are completely free to play. Ultimate Custom Night gives you the perfect mashup with the popular series Five Nights of Freddy, and it is absolutely a must-play game as a horror fan. In this game, you find yourself trapped in an office fending off killer animatronics. So in order to survive this ultimate challenge, you'll need to manage doors, vents, and the cameras to survive. Use the tools like heater, AC, global music box, and power generators to keep the animatronics at bay. There's more than 50 plus selectable characters across the series with a lot of customization options available. Awesome single-player horror game to check out right now, and the game is having overwhelmingly positive reviews on Steam, and also playable even with a very potato PC or a laptop. Next up, we are jumping into the world of No More Room in Hell, a co-op survival horror game that will test your limit against the undead. In this game, you and 7 other players must work together to survive this zombie apocalypse. With the limited resources and the weapons that you have in your arsenal, every decision could mean life or death. And throughout the game, you will scavenge for weapons, ammo, and supplies while you fend off hordes of zombies. So the cooperation and teamwork is absolutely the key as you navigate through some of these different maps, and each map comes with a different set of challenges and objectives. Despite the game is like 13 years old at this point, people still love this game, still playing this game to this date, and still having more than 1000 plus daily concurrent players on Steam, which is really great to see. Imagine being trapped inside a nightmarish maze with nowhere to hide or nowhere to catch your breath, and that is basically the essence of our next game, and that is Dark Deception. And the game throws you into this dark world filled with nightmarish mazes with relentless monsters, and your only hope is to run for your life and and find a way to escape this nightmare. And each maze is uniquely designed with its own set of hazards and traps, and you will find stuff like deadly traps, hunting creatures, so you gotta be careful every step of the way. And visually the game looks really stunning and immerses you into this dark fantasy world. The game is free to play, but I believe that is only the chapter 1 in this game. The rest of the chapters you have to buy, which is kinda unfortunate, but overall it's a great game to check out right now and also having very positive reviews on Steam. Next up, we got one of the best free multiplayer horror survival games out there, and that is Dead Frontier 2. In this survival horror game, you are only one of the few survivors left after this devastating outbreak happens, and your simple mission is to scavenge for supplies, improve your skills, and trade in with other players to stay alive. Resources are extremely limited across the game, where every bullet counts, and throughout the game you will find other desperate survivors and you have to help them or leave them for their fate, and ultimately the choice is yours. You can customize your character with huge variety of skills, rare equipment and cosmetic items, and also can decide to team up with other friends online, or you can play the game completely solo single player. Alright, before moving on to our number 1 spot, I want to mention and talk about bunch of other games that haven't really made into our top list today, but still absolutely worth checking out right now in 2024. First one is the game called Last Year, an action-packed survival horror game where you and 4 of your classmates try to survive this dark hometown filled with deadly creatures. Monstrum 2, a similar style of a survival horror game where you and group of other prisoners try to escape this deadly prison. Psychopomp, an awesome psychological horror dungeon crawler where you dive into the underground to find the secret hidden inside these catacombs. Poppy Playtime, an awesome single-player horror/puzzle adventure game where you try to survive this abandoned toy factory filled with vengeful toys try to take you down. And the multiplayer version of this game is also available, and it is called Project Playtime. All of these games are free to play, pretty cool. Make sure to check them out once you get the chance to do so. Alright, moving on at number 1 spot, we got SCP Secret Laboratory, a free-to-play multiplayer survival horror game that immerses you into this dark and terrifying SCP universe. Since the game is a multiplayer game, you have to choose your role wisely. You can either be a Class D personnel who trying to escape, a scientist who's seeking safety, or one of the terrifying SCP entities who try to hunt everyone down. You can team up with other players, or you can decide to go solo as you navigate through some of the dark areas of the facility, and throughout the round you have to use a lot of strategies, quick thinking to survive against both human and anomaly threats, and every round is different, gives you a unique gameplay experience, so there is quite a bit of replayability value in this game. It's a very awesome horror survival multiplayer game to check out right now, and it is definitely the most popular game on our today's list, having more than 8,000 plus daily concurrent players right now. Well, that's about it for this video, guys. I hope this video helped you to find some of the best free-to-play multiplayer and single-player horror survival games to play right now in 2024, and if I missed any good horror survival games, definitely let us know down in the comment section as well. And as always, guys, if you enjoyed the content, don't forget to like the video, subscribe, and stay tuned to the channel because we always cover tons of free-to-play games like this. I'll catch you guys soon in the next one. Stay safe.